Hello, dear fellow Homo sapiens and all others. I'm Sylvia Hartmann, the creator of Modern Energy. And I was starting off by telling the story how it came to be that I ended up writing a philosophy book and felt the need that this was really, really necessary. So, 25 years ago, pretty much to the day, a whole generation ago, I was having an argument with an energy psychologist at an energy conference. This person was saying that we needed to stop talking about how good things were because this was going to bring us into scientific disrepute and we couldn't ever get our place at the table of psychology if we kept talking about miracle healing. The people who just completely lost their spider phobias just like that, or Mary and her water phobia, to mention just a few. So the so I was having this argument with this person, and I had a moment, one of those strange time-space moments. They were standing in front of me, red-faced and shaking their fist at me, and the corridor just sort of expanded out into infinity. And I just saw with perfect clarity that you cannot do energy work on the living energy body within the confines of psychology, that it was never going to work, that they were never going to be able to smuggle it through the back door into the holy halls of academia and get their place at the psychology table. And I can sort of justify this as well by saying that, what happened to hypnosis? Hypnosis is incredible in what it can do. It can change body chemistry just like that. It can stop people from bleeding. And yet, where is it? It's not in any hospital. It's not being done routinely before, during, and after operations. It's just disappeared. Poof, it's gone. I could see that the same thing would be happening, for example, with the things that were done at the time, most notably tapping, which is tapping on meridian points, which is an energy body intervention. But the energy psychologists try to kind of obfuscate that and take it out and remove from it the one thing that makes it work. The one thing that makes it work. And from that moment on, I was outside psychology, and with that, outside the current paradigm of science itself. And I knew that. I gave it one more go in 2008, writing event psychology, just to give the psychologists something that they can work with, that they can do to help their patients and clients. But of course, it was absolutely, completely ignored to the point of being shunned. And in 2008, I just gave up, thought about it. In 2011, I gave the third field speech. We need the third field to serve the citizen. This isn't working. It's not happening. It's not going right. We need to establish the third field. And that's when we had the Guild of Energists, and things unfolded from there. That was in 2011. I felt that, we really needed to now get serious about this. This is not some new age nonsense. This is important for people. This is important for children. This is important for mental health. And so today, 2025, one generation after I had this argument with the psychologist, we have paradigm 5. And paradigm 6, I apologize. And so let's just start with a little slideshow here to tell you sort of where I'm coming from and why we need this and why we need a paradigm shift. And we need it day before yesterday. We need it in 2025, but we didn't. We needed this in 2000 and didn't get it. Now we're in 2025, and here we are. And I posit that psychology is a dumpster fire. It's a dumpster fire. It really is a dumpster fire. I have created a report on the 25 problems with psychology, which I'll set up for GOE members to download later. But here's just a few things of this 25 points, is that they're having a massive replication crisis, meaning that their studies can't be replicated. So they made them up, they hacked their p-values or hallucinated them or whatever. And this is causing obviously a lot of trauma to the scientists who like their numbers and their statistics. We've got the chaos of the entire field of psychology, which has at least 5 different philosophies or basic underlying structures with over 400 techniques that do not mesh and you can't mix and match them because they're coming from completely different mindsets, which is of course also not helpful at all. Got the huge fight at the moment in psychology organizations worldwide between the trad psychologists and the woke psychologists, who are doing completely different things, and never the twain shall meet, which really doesn't help at all. And then we've got the pathological model, where we're only ever looking at trauma, nothing but trauma, with a side order of trauma, some trauma gravy and a trauma tweel on top, which just victimizes, pathologizes everybody. It's not a sound field by any stretch of the imagination, by any way you want to measure that. And then we have fun things like this. As the spending on psychology has increased, and this is a US graphic here from the National Institute of Mental Health, they're spending $2.18 billion on mental health research and provisions. And as they're doing this, it's just getting worse and worse and worse. The mental health diagnoses are off the charts. It's insane. You've got a 30% increase in suicide. And the worst thing about that is that suicide is now the second highest cause of death of people between the age of 14 and 24. Our younglings are killing themselves in droves. There's a sitting between accidents, shootings, murders, and on the other side, cancer. That's unacceptable. This is not acceptable. There is no excuse for the failure. This is just horrendous. Crazy. 48.5% of US citizens are engaged with psychology. They're either studying it, they're practitioners, they are clients, or they're users of the billion-dollar industry of mental health apps. Books, fewer than they used to be, but this is 165 million people are engaged on a daily basis in some sort of practice of psychology. But they're clearly not getting any mentally healthier, are they? And the most astonishing figure here is that 23% of all American citizens, and that's all of them, from newborn babies to some old lady of 104, 23% have a diagnosed mental illness. Wouldn't you say that there's something going wrong here? Couldn't we say that and say that it's a dumpster fire? Psychology is a dumpster fire. So, of course, we're throwing more and more money at it, but it doesn't result in anything good. It doesn't do anything. It seems to be possibly even making that dumpster fire burn more brightly. Could it be? Okay, and so now here is the next thing. So we're going to try and fix psychology somehow. Somehow fix it, that it starts to work. with all its different warring factions, with their different techniques, their different ideas, their different philosophies. It's like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. It's completely pointless. And here, okay, ladies and gentlemen, might have to assume the hard position for this one. It's not psychology's fault. It's not psychology's fault. Not at all. Not in any shape or form. Psychology was handed an impossible task. Because under Paradigm 5, we are not allowed to be human. We are not allowed to have emotions. We are supposed to be observing the universe from outside the universe in order to do real science. And so what happened that the sciences, the P5 sciences, Paradigm 5 sciences, biology, chemistry, physics, they took everything they didn't want to deal with and threw it out of the window into that big dumpster that is psychology. How was poor psychology ever supposed to deal with that? Everything that's human. Everything that's human. What a task were they given. But it gets even better than that. Even whilst being given this task of somehow managing and dealing with human beings in all their states, they were told, oh yeah, but you need to be scientific. All we want to see is numbers. We want to see numbers. We want to see stats. We want you to be scientifically provable and replicable. You better do good science, or else we're not going to take you seriously. And all the psychologists, of course, were, oh my God, but we want to be scientific. We want to be scientific. We don't want to be hysterical weirdos. Yeah, look, let's make lots and lots of research. And we give you the numbers. And please, can we be a proper science then? And of course, the other guy said, nah, soft science, psychologists, they're all a bit doolally. So that poor field, it had no chance. It had absolutely no chance of succeeding under Paradigm 5. And I want to make this 100% clear, is that I absolutely love psychologists. I love them. These were once younglings who wanted to know why people do the things they do. They wanted to know why they were anxious or what made people tick. This is such a fantastic question to be asking. This is such a massive field of human knowledge that we should be having. But then they went to university, and the very first thing they learned was stats, how to make stats. That must have been terrible. I wonder how many dropped out. And the most earnest ones, they continued because they wanted to. They wanted to understand themselves, and help other people lead better, happier lives. So I have absolutely nothing but sorrow and admiration for the people who tried to work within the limitations of a field that is so anti-human and so anti-humane. And it's not psychology's fault. You can't fix psychology under Paradigm 5. And that is why I believe we need Paradigm 6. I could talk on this for years. Now, before anybody jumps on me and says, oh, you're just anti-science, what do you want to go do? Go back to some new age madness or waving feathers around or this complete bullshit insanity. We've managed to make wonderful technology with science. We've made fantastic things. Hey, you couldn't be even talking here with your computer and your monitor and sending it out on the internet if it wasn't for science. Yes, absolutely. And I must tell you this. I love science. I love science with all my heart, always have. What I love is the dream of science. To understand the cosmos in the sense of all there is. I call it the great creative order. And not just understand the cosmos, but our place within it. And that second part of that sentence, paradigm 5, unfortunately lost along the way. Now, I don't want to point fingers or assign blame for this. This is a huge, huge error to think that you can actually do science without human beings. It's just this is an experiment that has produced all our technology. Yes, it does. Yes, it has. But it also has produced the wave of mental illness. Our communities aren't clean, happy, and loving, celebrating and dancing together. All of this is just getting worse. Our health is getting worse and worse, physical health. Mental health is off the charts. There are everything that pertains to human health, wealth, and happiness hasn't been achieved under paradigm 5. It hasn't. And so this is a 200-year experiment. It was run for the first time in the history of humanity to try and completely exclude emotions, exclude humanity from this whole thing. It's run for 200 years. And I think because it is so inhumane that I have to reject it as being entirely successful. So I want to reiterate this. I love science. I love doing experiments that prove whether you're just hallucinating or whether this is really happening. Absolutely love it. I love finding little bits of reality absolute because they're precious and you can use them and you can make things out of them. Science is wonderful. Don't want any scientist out there, no matter what they're involved with, thinking that I am denigrating their efforts. I am not. What I want to do is want to put them into a position where they can do better science than has ever been done before in the history of humanity. So, this is paradigm 6 science. And paradigm 6 has a couple of interesting axioms. One of them is that there is a dynamic force that binds the multiverse. Paradigm 5 said, no, there isn't. And that's a bifurcation point into these two separate paradigms. One of them is paradigm 5, inhumane, emotionless, cold, and in my view, quite illogical. And paradigm 6. And in paradigm 6, the human being, the human scientist, the human inquirer, which each one of us is, we are all scientists. We're all trying to figure things out all the time. We're not the idiotes from Greek philosophy, which were the laymen that didn't know enough about anything to have any kind of input into the argument. We're human beings. We're Homo sapiens, each one of us. We have every input in the world into the argument of what the universe is and our place within it. Whether we can read or write, whether we can decipher the magical symbols of advanced physics or not, this is neither here nor there. Human beings are always the lens through which we study the multiverse. Human beings are absolutely and 100% the first instrument of science. And so what Paradigm 6 proposes is that the health, wealth, and happiness of the Homo sapiens, of the human being, has to be the first science, because everything else that human beings do is downstream from the human being. It comes out of the human being, comes through the human being. And you can't study the cosmos through a cracked lens. We need to figure out what we are actually capable of, Homo sapiens, base model, simple base model Homo sapiens. And in order to figure that out, how we actually function when we function perfectly, we need the study of endecology, which is the study of the star states. The +10 for us in the energy worlds and for the body as well, 100% physical functioning. So we have a benchmark to even know what is healthy. And we have a benchmark towards which we can move people. This entire fascination with pathology is fun, but it doesn't tell us what we need to do for people to be happier, healthier, richer in the widest metaphorical sense. Likewise, the study of the human mind has to be the study of the human mind as at its best. What I think is amazing, and I want you to remember this, is every functional Homo sapiens has 1.3 liters of pure magic between their ears. We all do. And this amazing thing, this brain we have, right? This physical brain, we all have one. If you take brains out of different races and men or women or whatever else there might be out there, who are all 5'8" tall, so making sure that the head's the same size. We take out the brains and we lay them on a table. You will not be able to tell which one's a man or a woman, or who's gay, or who's a Native American, or who's a Australian Aborigine. You can't tell. We all have this wonderful brain. I'm going to say it one more time to honor my teacher who told me this. We have more neurons in the brain than there are stars in the visible sky. And the potential of connection between them is to all intents and purposes infinite. We need the study of the body there. What environment does this brain need to function perfectly? We need the study of the mind that studies the human mind when it is functioning perfectly, not when it's misfiring and creating chaos for everyone. And then, of course, we've got the study of the star states when the energy body is firing on all cylinders. And yeah. So what I'm saying here is the study of the human being, endecology, has to be above biology, physics, mathematics, logic, and the humanities. Because you're not going to get clean science through a cracked lens. Ta-da! Yeah. So, the first science is endecology. Mind, body, mind, spirit. I have specialized personally in the third field. And the thing is, of course, the third field doesn't exist under Paradigm 5. And you get this wonderful kind of circular argument. Oh, so you say that this thing works. Where's your studies? Where's your statistics? Where's your p-values? Oh, you don't have any? Oh, well, then we don't need to take you seriously. And you're clearly just a charlatan. Okay. Well, you see, here's the problem. No paradigm, no endecology. No endecology, no third field, no research, no disciplines, no studies, no p-values. until you have a field, disciplines, and a paradigm where this actually is inside of, you can't have anything else, nothing. And the same old story of denigrating, neglecting, and basically fucking up religion and spirituality research, which has been going on for 150 years now. 150 years of people, honest people out there trying to prove that prayer works and so on, you know? This just makes my heart break. Desperately holding up their findings and saying, look, here's the statistics you asked for. But no, you don't have a field, you don't have a journal. You don't have academia, you're not allowed into the halls of academia, whilst at the same time berated for not having the scientific studies for it. As I say, this will go on forever unless we shift paradigms and create a space for the third field. So yeah, man, I would love to see the results from my colleagues in the body and mind sections of Endicology. And we could put our data together. You know, we could make something beautiful. We could. Okay, so paradigm 6. It's already here. Has been here since 1993. Tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people have helped me research the patterns and the methods and the theories and the practices of the third field. This has always been a democratized endeavor, never a cult. This is far too important for humanity to allow this old stuff to keep going on, unchallenged, unquestioned, browbeaten into this, whole, you talk about energy, you must be an idiot. I wrote a paper about that as well. It's called the Declaration of Independence. Shall make that available to the GOE members too. But yeah, we need paradigm 6. We needed it 20 years ago. We needed it 150 years ago, but here we are, and we're going to get going. We also, anybody who works with energy, modern energy, third field style, needs paradigm 5, so that paradigm 6, so that they can actually say, rebut these arguments that you're just crazy, you're insane if you believe in energy. They're just stupid, uneducated, illogical, unscientific. All of this nonsense has got to go away. We need a field where we can study things properly, scientifically, and in doing so, hopefully we're going to contribute something positively to humanity. And that's paradigm 6. That's why we need it. That's why I wrote it. That's why it's important. And that's why I sincerely hope that you will help and do your thing. Do your thing with energy. Hold your head up high. Make your stand. Don't let these random attacks against your integrity, against your logic, against your experience, lived experience with yourself, with your clients, and with the other people that you've dealt with. Do not let that be erased or wiped off the board, wiped off the table, and told that, this is useless, this is worthless, this is a danger to science. No, it's the exact opposite. It's exactly what science needs. So hopefully we have less greedy scientists who sell their soul to the devil. We have less, just creeps. Like, I came across a creep scientist with 36,000 references. God almighty. Perhaps if people weren't so stressed and greedy and trying to fight for institutional funding and against their colleagues and keep any youngsters down who have good ideas. Perhaps if that wasn't the case, if the lens was clearer in any field, we would not only get better science, cleaner science, we have the chance to have scientists who are really, really functional. And that's when it happens that we have these emergent properties of human intelligence, these leaps of imagination riding on a beam of light, all of a sudden understanding the benzene ring and knowing how that works. And people like Mr. Tesla, those are the people who literally move science forward, not the bean counters, the robots in their sterile labs. I mean, that's what I'm hoping for. I'm still waiting for my flying cars. And electricity transmission without cables. Thank you very much. That also does not destroy the human energy body. These and many other things. But yeah, we've made a start. We have the Guild of Energists as a proto-scientific organization and the first group to study the third field. We have had that since 2016. We have a journal called The Energist. We have many, many people around the world who have experienced for themselves that adding that third field to the mind-body thing really does help with daily life and staying happier and healthier altogether. So the time for whimpering around as weird little new age crazies is just over. It's over. The world needs us. The world needs a paradigm shift. And it isn't as hard as it may seem. All it needs is for individual people to start looking at the modern energy chart and making sure they're in better states. And then they're better placed to be better parents, better scientists, better therapists, better everything, have happier lives, gain more star events. So yeah, that was my introduction to Paradigm 6. And I would love to take some questions if you have any for me. This is a fun comment. I lasted about 3 months doing A-level psychology. Oh yes, it's a thing. It's definitely a thing. And as I say, I really feel sorry. This is reminds me of something else. There are people out there who, they want to be healers. But because there isn't a place for that under Paradigm 5, they ended up having to become doctors. And that's not the same thing. And I suspect that those people who actually wanted to be healers might feature pretty high in the enormously high suicide rate of doctors. We also have an enormously high suicide rate of psychologists, by the way, which is another one of those factors that tells us there's something not right with that. Something not right with that. Ah, Anna Marie. Hi there, yes. That's quite an interesting question. Please explain the modern energy chart and the sixth sense. Oh yeah, okay. Under Paradigm 6, we have not 5 senses, but we have 6. And the sixth sense is our emotions. Our emotions are designed to tell us about those things that we cannot see, hear, touch, scent, or taste. And the example for that I give is that you've got a really nice smelling, good looking, smiling, well-dressed serial killer. but there's that thing in your stomach that lets you know there's something not quite right here. That's a really good example for that. I see emotions not as some sort of weird chaos that God has punished us with, but as an input channel for data about reality absolute. And because people are, well, people's energy bodies have been so horrendously neglected and mistreated. They're constantly freaking out and sending pain signals. And that's emotions, that's the disturbed emotions. And these disturbed emotional states, they are completely trackable. They are not illogical. The modern energy chart shows you how that tracks and how to assess your energy state. And then you can do something for your poor little energy body that'll help it get better. And that isn't meditation. It doesn't have to be meditation or any kind of weirdness. That can just be opening a window and taking a breath of fresh air and letting your poor energy body that's just become discombobulated by sitting in front of a screen for 8 hours to actually start reconnecting with the world, with nature, and suck in some sort of energy to help it function better. No, it's not mysterious. It's simple. Once you just get your head around the fact that people aren't just a body and a brain, they are also a living energy body, a real spirit. Third field. If you want to learn more about this, we have a free book called Revolution, which has sort of the basics in it. And we also have a free stress management program called 7 Tips for Happiness. And these are available at the GOE.ac. GOE.ac. Ooh, what else we got? Oh, Poloscope. Hello, Poloscope. I dropped out of college animal behavior class. Oh, God. Do we have another 17 hours for me to go into the horrors of what underlies cognitive behavioral therapy? The pigeons that were driven insane and picked their own beaks bloody. Oh, just no, just no. Alex says, some academics have renamed it phenomenological control. So not to spook people. Yeah, right. As I said, you can't deal with emotions under paradigm 5. We need a paradigm shift. We need it now, need it soon, need it very quick. Oh, thank you, Alex, for posting the link in the comments for Revolution on YouTube. That's awesome. Cool. Right. Any other questions, or shall we call it a day for now? That's an interesting one. I've got a comment here about the initiation of a new form of human intelligence. This is definitely something that I really I want to address. I'm going to do something with that. But a really interesting thing. Let me just have a look at these slides. Okay. So a really interesting thing about human intelligence. And I find this fascinating. They're all saying that AGI, the artificial general intelligence, is just around the corner. Robots will be as intelligent as human beings are. But there's a small problem with that. When paradigm 5 people talk about intelligence, they talk intelligence at 0. If you can see the chart there, there's this little gray guy right in the middle at 0. He has no emotions. He's just 0 emotions. He's supposedly the best logic a human being can get. and has the highest intelligence, undisturbed by those poxy emotions. But the fun thing is that, I mean, zero is literally zero, it's nothing. It's like having zero money in the bank. You can't buy anything. You haven't got anything. It's not there yet. As you raise people's energy, making them happier, making the energy body work better, the side effect of that is obviously better emotions. But there's also this really cool thing that happens around +3, where the little man has got a light bulb over his head. And the reason for that is that there are emergent properties of human intelligence that don't even appear until we are at +3. These include, but are not limited to, making connections between silos, cross-contextual connections, creativity, new ideas and insights, agency. I could do something. There is a lot more to that than meets the eye. But if you cut off intelligence and define it at 0, you are completely missing the real intelligence of Homo sapiens. And I'm not talking about Einstein here. Every little kid has this emergent intelligence on this whole other level where you get to ride on a beam of light and you understand something about the nature of reality. I'm so excited about this. We need to study the emergent properties of human intelligence. And that's going to be then which finds its full expression only at +10, not anywhere else. Everything else is slightly, less good. It's not perfect. It's only perfect at +10. That's where we need to study human intelligence. How exciting. Think of all the younglings that think everything's already been discovered. Oh, no. God, no. It's been amazing. I love it. I just really, really love it. Let me just have a quick look here. What's this say? How love and logic are not at war. Right, this is a really, really good question. Love and logic are only at war when under paradigm 5, where you're not supposed to have any emotions. And so obviously love would be the enemy of logic. But that is only true if you cut off at 0 and there's nothing else beyond 0. What happens in actuality is that as people go up on the energy chart and they are functioning better in mind, body, and spirit, so it's not just the energy body, it's the whole totality, that starts to function better. Love and logic get closer and closer and closer together, and at +10, they become not just one and the same, but more than the sum of their parts. It's the most extraordinary thing. And for anybody who's listening and says, oh, she's just talking out of her ass. No, I'm not. Go to the best moments in your life. Remember the best moments of your lives. The ones that you will get in your end of life review, the ones that flash before your eyes just before you die. Go to those moments. Remember them. Remember how you thought, not what you thought. How you thought and felt. That's that thing where love and logic become not just one and the same, they become more than the sum of their parts. It's a beautiful thing. Star Matrix. Star Matrix is the way. Hoo-hoo. Oh, cool. Alex says that the people who have pre-ordered Paradigm 6 have just received or been sent their instructions to download. So it's officially out in the wild. Paradigm 6 is officially out in the wild. I'm super excited about that. I'm really happy. I have thought about this. I have worked on this. I have worked with so many people. I've had so many wonderful people support me in my journey. And oftentimes by challenging me and questioning me and saying this doesn't work, or do it better, or it's not working well enough. And I've really, really worked at it over the last 37 years. So this is not something that is in any way unproven. It's very, very proven with all sorts of different people from all walks of life, all situations, all races, anywhere around the world for a long, long time now. And yeah, it's time. It's time we should say, look, people, let's get started. And this paradigm shift, it's not, we don't need to burn down the universities. All we need to do is to call them all up, call them together, and give them a course in modern stress management. And modern stress management under the third field means emotional stress management. Show them the modern energy chart, give them 4 techniques. They practice there and then, can learn right there and then. And then we send them home with a modern energy chart, each that they can hang up on the fridge at home, and their wife can see them too, and their husband, and the children can see it. And children as young as 3 can understand what that is. And indeed have said, I have heard this, that oh dear, daddy's turned into the red man, which made me laugh, which is great, because this is much better than daddy's a horrible monster who scares me. Daddy's turned into the red man. That's a very good assessment. Excellent. He got angry. Yeah. It's nice to have a way to map emotional states and to see how they unfold. God, I love modern energy. It's really good. Yes. Sandra. Hello, Sandra, our most wonderful trainer. Please contact Sandra if you would like some form of modern energy training as a practitioner or as a personal person. She's absolutely wonderful. She has so much patience, not a quality that I have that much of. So I'm always greatly admiring of dear Sandra. She says, all of us through GOE history are evidence that it's worked. Yes, I'd say, yeah. Happy people. We have, as I said, we've got no cult. We have no cult leaders. We have people who work in their places. I work as the philosopher and creator. Sandra and other people like her are out there teaching and training and helping people. It's a wonderful structure. See, look, I didn't want to be a guru because I really, really want my work to survive my demise. This is no good at all. It's a really interesting thing that I found and researched. It can really help people. It's a good idea. So I don't want it to just go poof when I die. So, like so many things, which would be a shame. I want it to set up so it can continue. There will be research. There will be new ideas and new directions and new things that we can do, especially if the other 2 fields start cooperating with us rather than shunning us for a change. God, we could do so much together. Ah, yes, that's a very good point. To be able to change how you feel is more empowering than anything, yes. To no longer be terrified of your own emotions. A greatest blessing, really is. It restores so much agency to people. And it's so important. So important. And sadly, over last 20 years, instead of, people working a bit harder or wanting to be happier, it's become just this weird race to the bottom. And that the more mental illness you can have and the more crazy you can behave, the more you're respected. It's total inversion of what a good life should be, what a happy life should be, what a gentle Homo sapiens should be doing. Okay, guys. That's a nice little comment. Dieter, hello, Dieter. If something makes sense, that's a love experience. That's love and logic. Yes, indeed. When something clicks together and you see it, whoa, my hive star events completely. And I love it when that happens when I'm there. Could I have some more, please? Because I really, really enjoy those. Enjoy those very, very much indeed. Okay, so here we are. I want to thank you so much for having been here with me to celebrate the launch of Paradigm 6, my first book on philosophy. And yeah, I'm really quite excited by this. And I'm coming from this. I've worked on this for about a year now. It's been quite a journey, I can tell you. And it's been very satisfying. And I don't think without Star Matrix I really could have done that. So, yeah. I invite everyone, every scientist who wants to do better work in their science to accept that I'm right about end ecology and the human being the lens through which we explore the cosmos, and just put themselves into better energy states for the sake of their own health and well-being, and of those of their colleagues, their families, their friends, their societies, and their science. And I wish that to everyone from the bottom of my heart. Less greed, less competition, less stress, less fear, and above all else, more agency. More agency in your own life. I think that's what I love the most out of all of this. Ah. Poloscope. Yes, Star Matrix is the opposite of focusing on trauma. That's exactly right. You remember your best events, best moments of your life, and if you want to, you write them in a book of stars. And if you want to go on with that, you can then construct a star line that basically tells you who you really are. Because if you're just stressed and traumatized all the time, that's not who you are. That's kind of a sick version of yourself. Whereas the star events, they show you who you are. And the star events from the past give you a trajectory for the future. They give you more of an idea what you're trying to do, where you're going forward, what your path in life, as it were, is. And it really does wonders for your self-esteem, for your self-concept. It's a wonderful thing. Star Matrix is the way. Thank you very much for that question. Right, guys, we've been here exactly an hour. How perfect is that? I want to send you lots and lots of love, all my blessings, my insane gratitude, oceans of gratitude to everyone who has contributed to this emergent third field with their experiences, with their time, with their intelligence. With those are the results that matter. That's the data that I have received. And we can now go on to formalize this. We are so ready for beautiful, clear, honest, truthful science, but only under Paradigm 6. Thank you so much. Lots of love, and I'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.